Truly African.
Good evening and welcome to today's edition of The Couch. This is the book review edition of the show, and you know that every Wednesday we meet here as literary lovers and we have conversations around a chosen book. You know, we do conversations around things like theme, style, characters and things like that. And thank you for all the feedback that we are getting. We understand that you love it. We love it too. It's why we do it. So thank you for continuously and continuing to watch, the book review edition of the show. Thank you also for staying with Pan-African TV. So this is another edition of the book review edition of the show. But today we are going to be doing something slightly different. Today we are going to be looking at, we are going to be attempting to appreciate, the writing style of Cheomamanda Ngozi Adichie. So we decided not to pick on any one particular story, but to sort of broadly do an analysis, of this book in terms of the themes, in terms of the writing style, in terms of the message, stuff like that. All the good stuff, that we do here every Wednesday. So let me quickly introduce my fellow conversationist for this evening. Hi, Bless.
Hello, Mama.
Great to see you as always.
Same here.
Right. Okay.
You're looking great, by the way.
I always look great, Bless. Yeah, that's how the motivate.
Yeah, I mean, so like you saying that you always look great reminds me of one of Chinua Achebe's book, the most popular one.
Right.
Where
the lizard.
Yes, the lizard which jumped from the high Iruku tree said it will praise itself if no one else did. So I agree. Yeah. I get it. I understand.
Do you know what I originally wanted to say?
No.
I wanted to say, please don't put limitations on my good looks.
As though it is only today you are looking.
I'm looking good. I forgot myself on TV.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Bless. And today we are all in agreement that, in terms of looking good, Theresa, Charlie, today, dear.
Yeah,
it's
superb.
For you.
Superb.
It's your day.
Superb.
You look amazing.
Thank you.
I love everything you are wearing.
Wow, thanks.
Love the hair. Love the hair. Love the hair. Looking great.
Thank you so much.
Great to have you back.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
also another opportunity to be here again.
Absolutely. Okay. So who would start us off? Bless, you should.
Yes, I think just because Theresa hasn't read so many of the short stories. Right. I think she's now only two.
I'm sure she probably read the whole book. Have you read the whole book?
Not all.
Not yet. Enough.
But I mean, here she's discussed jumping,
just two.
monkey, and then what we did last week. I've forgotten the title already.
Last week we did a thing around your neck.
The thing around your neck. Oh, how can I forget? Yeah. How could I have forgotten? Yeah. But I think I've been through Cell 1, which is like my favorite actually.
Your favorite is Cell 1?
Yes, I like Cell 1.
I see.
And also I think we've done Ghosts.
Yes.
We've done Ghosts as well too.
Yes. Imitation.
Yes. Yep. Jumping Monkey Hill itself, and then the thing around your neck. But I think.
Did you do a private experience?
Yes, we did a private experience. We did a private experience. It was only one we jumped. I think we jumped.
Of Monday last week.
Yes, we jumped on Monday of last week. That's the only book we jumped. But aside that, we've done every book till the thing around your neck.
Right. Okay. And so far?
So far, it's been great. I've loved it. I mean, for those of us who appreciate literature and everything that it entails. And I mean, let me quickly go back. Let me reminisce on some time back in school when we studied literature as well. And we did stuff like this. Even in examination, we did stuff like this. Our homeworks and all of that, we did stuff like this, where you'll be asked to summarize, let's say, chapter 1 or chapter 2 of a book. Or so it's been fun. I think I'm feeling, or I'm getting the high school days fever, and I think I would say that I'm loving it so far. it's been great. It's been really great so far.
Right. Let's look at her writing style.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll start. I think she sort of shows off her versatility.
Yeah.
You know, with this collection of short stories, because every story has its own unique voice.
Yeah.
Like every story has its own unique voice. For instance, the thing around your neck is completely different from, you know, in fact, all the others. That one really stands out.
Yes, it really stands out.
Like her writing style for that one.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure if I dig it. If I'm being
Myself, I don't.
honest,
Like
I'm
the
not sure.
other day I said it. It
I'm not
wasn't.
sure.
It wasn't the favorite of my books.
I'm not sure. It gets a little confusing.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, she's a versatile writer.
Yeah.
You know, she has her way with words. It's like words are just toys in her hands that she, you know, she plays around with and she uses. But then, for me, it shows how brilliant she is.
Yes.
Right?
No, there's no doubt about that.
She's a brilliant author.
There is no doubt about that.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Because whichever style she chooses, when you're done with the story, you understand why.
Yeah.
Because there are some stories she tells from both perspectives. And so she adapts one style to be able to tell. There are some stories she's only telling from one perspective. And so she adapts a style that allows only that voice to be heard. She's very particular about how she chooses, you know, to use voice in telling these stories. At the end of the day, I think even if it's not in your face, whatever she sets out to tell you, you get it. You get it. That would be my observation so far. Bless, what's yours?
Yeah. So you were talking about the writing style and all of that. There's one thing about writing actually, and I always say you can't be taught how to write. You cannot. You either have it or you don't. And for you to have it too, then you have to make some conscientious efforts towards developing it, and that includes being a very good listener and you being a voracious reader. So if you study people who write so well, like Cheomamanda Ngozi, even in most of her books, in most of her writings, you'd see her telling you that when she was young, I mean, when she was a child, her father used to read to her and blah 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 blah. And this is somebody who loved reading, a lot. So it comes as no surprise actually that she's a very good writer. I'm particularly impressed with her use of imagery throughout all the short stories, in a sense that despite the fact, and that is the goal of writing actually, that is the difference between a book and a movie. A movie paints just one picture to you. So everybody, if 10 people are watching a movie, you are all looking at just one picture. But if you read a book, I read a book, she reads a book, we have an individual picture in our minds of what a particular setting would be. For instance, if you look at a thing around your neck, and you were picturing Connecticut, when you were picturing that restaurant there, you had a picture in mind of what the restaurant looked like, and that would be very different from what my picture would be. And that is why, for me, any day, anytime, I'll choose books over movies, because you are allowed to have a scene of your own. This is like your scene, not what some director has. Okay, we are going to have the scene at this place or that place. It is your own scene, and Cheomamanda perfectly paints that picture to you, where you are able to put yourself at a particular scene at a point in time, and you're able to picture what is around you at that point in time. And I feel that she's really perfect at it.
Would that be the reason why we tend to read a book, watch the movie, and get disappointed?
Exactly.
Because when I watched Half of a Yellow Sun, I was so disappointed.
Yeah.
I was just like, no, did not do it for me. No, right? For instance, even the characters, like Olana, the picture I had of her in my head, and the character that was chosen to play her, I think she didn't do justice to the picture that I had in my head.
Yeah.
I had an Omotola in my mind.
Yeah.
You know, someone voluptuous.
Yeah.
Curvy, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Perhaps that was somebody else's interpretation of the words, the same words that I read.
Yeah. But you would have interpreted like
in my mind,
very different,
completely different,
very different,
completely different.
Yeah,
completely different. Meanings really residing people, right?
I tell you solemnly.
Residing people. Theresa, let's hear you.
Okay. For me, I must say I try to dig a bit about her bio and all that. And as Bless said, she was someone who had that, is someone who has that voracious appetite for reading and for writing. And you could see through her book, her settings, she actually writes in a manner that allows the reader to be involved in the story itself. So it is not that story that you read and you feel alienated, but this is a story that gets you immensely involved in it. You tend to picture exactly what she says. And you rightly said she's someone who doesn't mince words. Yes, she is exact on what she wants to explain. And then when you read it, you are able to get that picture that she wants to portray. Her command over the language, I must commend it. It's extraordinary. It's extraordinary. So her writing style is unique. It's very unique. Because even if you see the awards that she has acclaimed and all that, it tells you the perspective of her writing. It's very, very unique. And it seems she takes inspiration from people like Chinua Achebe and all those people that they are very good writers that we all know of. So her style of writing, I think it's a plus for me. But notwithstanding the fact that sometimes it's a bit difficult if you don't have that part of literature to grasp what she's saying, but you have to read probably twice to get into what exactly she's saying. Without that, I think I give a plus to that.
You think that somebody who is being introduced to reading for the first time shouldn't go for?
Oh, I think should. I think should.
Right.
But should make a further step to probably read deeper to some of them, not all. Because even if you see her themes, they are not like the ordinary themes that we come by. Some seem to be a bit proverbial. You can't just hear of the theme and then already you know the end to the story. You need to really read and read well to get what that theme represents. So I think
deep.
Yeah, she's deep. She's deep.
Let me.
You just said something. I'm sorry.
Okay.
1 second. You just said something about relatability. That's my understanding of what you said.
Okay.
Yeah.
And would that be because of her themes or her characters? Perhaps a combination of both.
Yes, I think it should.
Because you know, there are some books you read and you think, I can't relate. I don't see how in everyday life somebody will behave like this.
Yeah.
But with her books, I can totally relate.
Yeah, exactly.
And I can see how, you know, somebody in that situation would think like that or would act like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, her characters are very relatable.
Yeah, very.
And they are not good or bad. They are just human.
Yeah.
It's what I always say about her. I always say that about her. Like her characters are not good
She doesn't create a
or
perfect.
bad. They are just human beings.
It's normal.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a plus.
Yeah.
It's a real plus. Sorry, you wanted to say something?
Yeah. So Theresa was making the point about she not mincing words. I mean, she says, or she says things straightforward, or she says things as they are. Also, I'm wowed by the way she's able to express herself. Her wording, her choice of words particularly, the way she would describe something, the sort of simile she would make of a situation, or I mean the sort of metaphor that she would make of a situation. I think we read half of A Yellow Sun some time back, what we did outside, how she described sex at that particular point in time. And that is the beauty of language. You understand? And to be in that position to write means that you should teach people, and in teaching people, you get to let them know that there are various ways of saying things, and it's one of the things that she does so well. So even, and I mean, if you want to be a good writer as well, you learn from these things. So for instance, I've read The Thing Around Your Neck. If next time I'm writing a story, I'm writing an essay where I need to put I feel that there's this sentence I read in A Thing Around Your Neck that would fit into what I'm going to write. I can just add it just to embellish it.
Right.
You understand? So it's I mean it's language you can understand, but it's not just raw and basic like that.
Right.
You understand? And it's one of the things that
she's a wordsmith.
Yeah, she's a wordsmith.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's do a little bit of reading. Only because we are attempting to discuss style.
Yeah.
So just cursory Google search, nothing too academic, because we don't like to keep this section too academic. But it says here 7 most common types of writing styles. Forgive me, I have a cold. Narrative, where traditionally it's intended to tell a story based on the writer's real life experience. Descriptive essentially paints a picture of something. Just what is it? I want us to go over them one by one, so that we. So would we say that she's a narrative writer?
Yeah.
That her stories could be described as being, that she's, that's what I'm saying. Like, is she sort of aligning her real life with the situations in her books, or the characters in her book? Would you say that?
I mean, would have to maybe connect that to her themes. And if you study, apart from perhaps Cell 1, where the main character is male, if you look at all the other stories, the main characters are female. You understand? And she sort of, I think she narrates the story. And we saw the whole narrative bits, especially in the main title, that is The Thing Around Your Neck, where she was really narrating an event. But with the other stories as well too, you see that she tends to make you think that she is the main character. I don't know if you've observed, she tends to make you feel, or she makes you think that
you see her there.
Yes, you see her there.
Hear her voice.
Yes.
And it's worse for me because I love watching her interviews. I watch a lot of her interviews. So I know some of her views on some main issues, like,
and then they really it really aligns to.
And then when you read her stories, you see her views in the stories that she tells through the different characters.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think that she tends to use this writing style a whole lot. Let me read some more. Narrative writing is storytelling at its most basic. It's all about sharing something that happens to a character. It can be an epic tale or a small anecdote. It can span years of time or a few minutes. It can be fact or fiction. Narrative writing uses many of the most common elements of storytelling, such as plot, character, setting, conflict, emotion, and a core message you are trying to get across. There are also tried and true story archetypes or narrative structures you can use to shape your narrative writing, such as coming of age, rags to riches, or the hero's journey. While narrative writing can take a lot of forms, one thing is always true. You should be taking the reader on a journey with a beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah.
Even if you are just telling the story of a funny incident that happened to you yesterday, your character should start somewhere, run into some sort of conflict or interesting experience, and then ultimately reach a solution. When to use narrative writing? Narrative writing is most commonly used in fiction and creative writing, but it can also be used in non-fiction to help make true stories more compelling to your reader. Whatever you are writing, the narrative style is worth mastering because people tend to connect best with stories. For instance, you might use narrative writing in novels and short stories, memoirs, creative essays, feature stories, presentations, speeches, goes on and on and on and on. So, Tess,
Yeah.
do you think Bless thinks that she tends to use that style? Do you
Yeah.
think that she uses that
Yeah,
style?
I think she does, because if you see how she tells her story, she tries to, let me say, bring out the protagonist, but in a way, you feel her presence in there. Even with the story of jumping the monkey hills, when she wrote about the writers, you feel her experience in there, she herself being a writer. So it's not ordinarily just telling people's story in that aspect of perspective, but she portrays herself through her writing, like things that she has even experienced. You could feel those are the things she has experienced firsthand, and that makes also a writer to stand out. If the writer, him or herself, has that first-hand experience, it does not just become fictional, but you feel the facts in there, because they portray everyday issues that is confronted in the society. So looking at what you just read and what you described, she has that narrative perspective to her writing. So I think I would agree to that.
Okay, let's go to descriptive writing. Descriptive writing involves capturing every detail of the place, person, or scene you're writing about. The goal is really immerse the reader in the experience, making them feel like they are there. When trying to achieve a descriptive writing style, think of it as a painting. Think of it as painting a picture with your words. What you can say to help the reader truly envision the subject in their mind's eye. This usually involves crafting vivid descriptions using all five senses: sight, smell, hearing, touch, taste. But it could also involve the use of simile and metaphor to evoke a mood or a feeling that's too hard to capture with physical descriptors. This can help elevate your writing from a simple descriptive to something that connects with others on a deeper level. Forgive me. According to and they quote a site, descriptive writing is about more than just making your story pretty. Great description accomplishes four things. It immerses the reader and gives them a felt experience. It also establishes, enhances, or changes the tone of the story. It can compel the reader forward into the story, especially if you include something that's surprising or unexpected into your description. It can give the reader a sense of the internal state of the character. Descriptive writing is most often in creative writing and can be used along with narrative writing to build scene and setting. It can occasionally be used in more formal writing to help explain an idea more deeply or get the reader to emotionally connect with the story you are telling. And then it gives some examples: poems, song lyrics, fiction, copywriting, things like that. I think that's what you alluded to before.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what you alluded to
Yes.
before.
So, and I feel that the best writers do not just follow one way. You can mix everything and get a perfect blend. Let me read an excerpt of Cell 1. How Inamabia was described. Inamabia looked just like my mother. With that,
project. I want to catch everywhere.
it says, Inamabia looked just like my mother, with that honey fair complexion, large eyes, and a generous mouth that curved perfectly. When my mother took us to the market, traders would call out, "Hey, madam, why did you waste your fair skin on a boy and leave the girl so dark?" what is a boy doing with all this beauty? And my mother would chuckle as though she took a mischievous and joyful responsibility for Namabia's good looks. So you see how Namabia was described. He had that honey fair complexion, large eyes, and a generous mouth that curved perfectly. A generous mouth. We could see that he had thick lips, and he had big eyes, and he had a very nice complexion. So she perfectly captures it. Though you are not seeing Namabia, you get to know that this is exactly what he looks like in your mind's eye. You understand? So I think this is a classical example, and it's all throughout. It is all through. There are a dozen, 1,001 examples of.
I know exactly how all her characters look.
Exactly.
Some time ago, I was proofreading a book for someone, and I remember calling the person and saying to the person, "Your characters are blank in my mind. Like I can't form them.
Yeah.
You haven't given me enough to form an image of the people I'm reading about." And once I don't know what they look like, I can't connect with them.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. Once I don't know what the characters look like, I can't connect. So I need to form an image in my mind of this person that you are talking about, so I can sort of have a connection to that. I don't know if it's just me, or if it's a general. Right. Or you live in a house. Say you've mentioned the house 1,000 times in the book, and you've given me no clue what that house looks like or feels like. I can't. So I'm reading the book, but I'm not connected.
Exactly.
I haven't felt it. There's no feeling.
Doesn't come out.
that I have to connect.
Let's look at this also from Jumping Monkey Hill. I read this paragraph. It said, but she didn't know this the afternoon Edward, an old man in a summer hat who smiled to show two front teeth the color of Mount Dew. So you see, you have a picture of Edward in your mind as soon as you read that. Exactly. So I think it's all through, like we said. It's just all through.
Now, let me ask a question. So again, I was proofreading a book for somebody, and the person had described the castle. So I asked, so have you been to the castle? And she said no. I'm like, so how are you? Like, she created. To what extent do you think that a character has permission to use imagination to fill in real places that exist? I say 0. Right? Unless I create a fictitious building.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel as though if I create a fictitious building, and I can describe it the way that I want.
Yeah.
But I feel as though the minute you reference, say, Kwame Nkrumah Circle, it has to be Kwame Nkrumah Circle.
Yes, it does. It does have to be Kwame Nkrumah Circle.
Which is what I love about Cheomamanda Ngozi Adichie, because I haven't been to Nsukka University.
Yes.
But because of all the times I've read about it, I feel I know what it looks like.
It looks like, you have a picture in your mind.
Right. It's also what I think is not what is.
Yeah.
Maybe I have read my own meaning into her words, and I've given it an image that doesn't exist. But people travel because of places they read about in books, and they have to just go and experience it. In fact, she herself speaks about getting to the US, and she had to have a bagel. But she had read so many times about bagels that she was like, I have to taste this thing. I have to, And it's just
like I've read about chicken fillet and all of that. I mean, like the first time I stepped in the US, it was one of the things I'm going to taste. Like, what is in this chicken fillet? Like,
Charlie, I need to taste this chicken fillet.
Exactly, I need to taste it. And I get it. I feel like I understand exactly what you mean. If it's a real place, a place that is there, then your description must perfectly fit. Like you make the circle example. If just imagine describing Circle as a place where drivers were so lawful, everything was in order. I mean, this overhead that Mahama commissioned some few years ago, still in pristine condition. that is a false representation of what circle looks like. But if you tell me that these guys who sell phones by the roadside trying to swindle people, these politicians have their pictures on the walls and blah, like, then you are describing circle with these rickety minibuses going up and down and policemen extorting money from drivers. Then that is circle. Then that is circle. If you are not describing it like this, and
but what would you do? So let's say you're writing your own book.
yeah.
Would you go for the places that everybody knows and describe, or would you create your own?
So you only create. I feel that people create and it works. People bring. People give us fiction and places that literally don't exist, but they can paint the picture so well to you that you tend to form a picture of a place in your mind,
Right.
or you even liken it to a place that you already know. You understand? So creation is about how good you are at writing, and I feel that any good writer should be able to create and make a picture out of a place.
Right.
To the extent that your reader reads and he or she is deeply immersed in that picture and kind of understands what the place looks like.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Beth, what would you go
Yeah,
for?
I think I would just add to the creation aspect that I talked about. You can create, you can make something fictitious, but I feel like it's always from something material, something that already exists. That is what you can build on to create.
As a base.
Yes, as a base. So if, let me say you write about a story and you talk about a forest and you don't even have an idea of what a forest really is like, and you talk about it and you say there are benches and there are this and there are that, it immediately puts the reader off. It cuts the reader off that connection that should be there. But as he said, if you are talking about circle and you bring in that, it creates that kind of excitement for the person to continue in the reading, to know exactly when it's going to end, or probably how his circle might be different from your circle that you are trying to describe. So it should be from something existing. It should be from something that it's known, and then you build on that to be able to create it.
I think what works for her is that she's able to connect with the reader.
Yeah.
And sometimes what helps that connection is nostalgia.
Yeah.
Isuka University. I
Yeah.
went there.
Yeah.
Let me see how she's describing the place. Like Legon for me.
Yeah.
If a book is talking about Legon and the days where we used to have the gate at the main entrance, it's a nostalgic feeling for me.
Yeah.
It brings me back, or takes me back to that time, that time in space. And so immediately I'm connected to the story that I'm reading. And I think that's the advantage with using real places as against creating. But I think that it's only good for you. It's only an advantage if you do it well.
Yeah.
If you miss it,
Yeah, that's...
You need to do it well.
that's it. Then you don't create the connection at all. So I'm reading the book like liar. Look at what she's saying. What is this one going on about? Okay. Bless. My code is not helping. Please read the persuasive writing book.
Okay, so
It's not helping.
persuasive writing says persuasive writing is all about getting your point across. The goal is to share your opinion in a thoughtful way, or even better, to actually convince the reader of a viewpoint or idea. Whether you have a strong stance on an issue or need to inspire people to take action towards a cause, persuasive writing is the way to do it. Of course, you can't expect to simply state your viewpoint and have everything and have everyone convinced. You need to effectively back it up to bring the reader over to your side. There are several main types of evidence in writing you can use when trying to persuade, and then includes statistical evidence such as hard facts or studies, anecdotal evidence such as personal experience or interviews, testimonies or testimonial evidence such as quotes from experts in the subject, textual evidence such as passages from books or primary sources. Whatever evidence you use, it's often best to keep emotions at bay in persuasive writing. While sharing a bit of your personal story can help build a compelling argument, too much emotion could cloud your key points and turn the reader off. Instead, try and think from the reader's point of view and ask yourself, what are the most important things I could say to help convince them? And it says when to use persuasive writing. Persuasive writing is often found in non-fiction and is almost never used in fiction. It is particularly worth mastering if you do any kind of business writing, even just drafting emails to your colleagues, since clearly convincing people of your ideas or point of view can be so valuable at work. You also see persuasive writing used in essays, opinion editorials, that is op-eds, speeches or presentations, copywriting for conversation, sales writing, cover letters, letters of recommendation. And he went on to give examples, which I don't think that
fits our purpose.
It doesn't.
Fits our purpose. So, I mean, I get what you're saying. I think it's more formal, non-fiction write-ups. But I dare say that she employs the skill as well.
She has that.
Especially on specific themes that she consistently writes about.
Yes.
Like
That's if you know her.
She has
Exactly.
a standpoint in there.
Yes.
Like the theme of feminism, the
Yeah.
theme of racism,
Yeah.
the immigrants' experience, things
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
She's strong on them.
Yeah.
She has strong opinions there.
Exactly.
And she pushes them through in her
Subtly.
writings and tries to persuade the reader
Yeah.
towards a certain way.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So I agree with this that it tends to be more formal and but if you are skillful, you can employ a style that's meant for formal, perhaps non-fiction journals, sort of gently sway it here and use which I think she does.
Yeah.
Would I be wrong, Theresa?
No, I don't think so that you are wrong. Because looking at the issue of feminism like this that you talk about and immigration, you can clearly tell her standpoint in there. Even though it's subtle, but you still feel it in there. Because and the issue of immigration that you just pointed out, these are things that she has lived and it's actually still thriving within society. So she tends to hit on that. You always talk about the nuance, to talk about these things that people don't want to endeavor into. But she goes ahead to talk about that. And it has that kind of persuasive tone in there. That even if you don't share in that view, after reading it, you might have some iota of her perception within yourself. So I believe that she employs, like preparing some salad, she brings in this, brings in that.
Pot
and
puree.
then-
Yeah.
like
Pot puree.
kind of.
Right. Bless, what do you think?
I perfectly agree. I mean, if you know Cheomamanda, unless you don't know her, but if you really do, you know that she's really strong on these things, even with regards to the whole Biafran war, and she has an opinion on it, and that opinion she'll let you know subtly. And
Sometimes not subtly, sometimes very forcefully.
exactly. I mean, she'll let you know her views on feminism, her views on immigration, all of these very, very critical societal issues. She pushes them there. Yes, and if you know her, unless you've not, I mean, if you listen to her interviews where she's spoken, she's spoken, and you listen to her, she has a very strong opinion on these things, and it is clearly evident in her writing. Yeah.
Absolutely. Please do us the honors.
Okay, so this is expository writing. Expository writing exists to explain a subject or inform about a particular topic area. The goal is simply to teach the reader something. Expository writing should aim to answer any question a reader might have about a subject. Think about the classic who, what, why, when, how questions. That is in journalism, by the way. You want to lay everything out clearly, avoiding any jargon or overly technical language that may confuse people. Try to approach expository writing from a beginner's mindset to make your piece as useful as possible. Most importantly, keep your emotions and opinions about a subject out of it. Unlike persuasive writing, expository writing shouldn't have an angle or agenda, just the facts. When to use expository writing. Learning how to write in this style is valuable if you ever need to teach through writing, even if that's just training your colleague on a particular process. While historically expository writing was mostly considered an academic style, you can now see it all over the web with content, marketing blogs, and how-to articles teaching readers how to master all manner of skills. For instance, you see expository writing in how-to or explainer articles, help center articles, or other copy explaining how something works, textbooks, technical or business writing, training materials. Examples of expository writing. This blog post is a classic example of expository writing. It's here to share the facts and teach you something. Beyond that, here are a few more places to find. I think it goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. Yep. Then there's creative writing.
Right. Let's just finish it off.
Let's do creative writing.
Finish it off.
As with any artistic medium, the rules are really only there to be broken. And creative writing is any writing that exists outside of the styles above, or even combines the styles in surprising new ways. That's what I think Cheomamanda does, by the way. The goal of creative writing is really to find new ways to tell stories that can surprise and delight readers. When it comes to creative writing, you can let yourself literally rewrite the rules of what great writing can be. You could try a new format or structure that you haven't seen before. You could bring other languages or multimedia elements into your work. Let yourself have fun with it. When to use creative writing? The purpose of creative writing is really for you to experiment with your craft. Here are some ideas of where you might see creative writing: humor writing or satire, poetry, flash fiction, creative non-fiction, data journalism. Examples of creative writing. It says, if you are looking for inspiration for your own creative writing, here are a few places to explore. I think some YouTube channels. Yep.
Nice one.
Yeah.
Well, what would you have to say about that?
Yeah. So I mean, creative writing. And maybe I'd perhaps again put Cheomamanda's works under that, because it's a combination of almost all the writing styles. She brings in a little bit of this. She does not limit herself to, okay, if I want to do persuasive writing, and then it's persuasive writing all through. So she brings in a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and then combines it to form whatever she brings out. And I think, even judging from what you've read about the various writing styles, we see elements of each and every one of them in the book. Yeah. So it's a combination, a salad, like she's a yes. I mean, it's a whole lot of writing styles that form one monolithic entity, like one book, like that. Yeah, and I think that's what she does.
Absolutely. Tess?
Yeah, I think I'll just have to reiterate again that, and even looking at her background, I think she had a master's in creative writing from Johns Hopkins University. So it tells you what she's actually made of. She does not just, maybe I want to write about jumping the monkey hill and then try to employ descriptive writing or narrative writing. But she tends to use all of them from different angles and in different contexts, because if you even employ one method of writing, there are some things that you cannot really bring out so well. She understands all this and then is able to combine, maybe in this aspect, this is the method that I have to employ. She makes sure she uses it perfectly. So she does not just stick to one style, but at the point, what is it that I want to bring out? What is it that I want to portray? Okay, that is where she brings in the various aspects that will make that thing stand out, that would let the reader be involved in whatever is happening. So she doesn't stick to one style, but she's able to manage on where to use what.
Right. Okay. Now the question. The question on my mind around themes. Right?
Yeah.
Do you feel that her themes tend to be repetitive? I mean, we've examined the writing styles that they are. And from examining the writing styles, we can tell that she used like a salad, like you say, Theresa. She uses a combination of so many styles to get her points across. But when you read The Thing Around Your Neck, do you feel that her themes are repeated? That perhaps there are maybe 4 central themes and all her stories are danced around those? Do you have a sense of that, or do you think that all her stories are completely different and all of them have completely different themes?
Okay, so that's right.
Oh, Tess, you wanted to go first?
Oh, just go ahead.
Well, I think to some extent, yes.
Yes, to
Yes,
I asked 2
repetitive.
things.
Yes, that her themes are repetitive. Especially the theme of feminism for the majority of the short stories we've done so far is all through. And I think there's a reason for that, and I think it is intentional. And the issue regarding feminism is not just a one-off conversation. It's not something you just talk about and then you leave it like that. It has to be repetitive. You understand? That's what she does. And the theme of, should I say, patriarchy is also repetitive. And I think if you the second one we did, is it?
Which one?
Is it? Did we do imitation?
We did imitation.
Yes, I think we did.
But the woman had to cut her hair.
Yes.
Right, imitation.
Yes. So even the theme of feminism was an imitation. Even in cell 1, it was there. Jumping monkey here. It is there. Yeah, understand. So
the last one too.
yes,
The one we just did.
the one
Around your neck.
It is there. It is the central. It is the central theme. You get it.
Right.
So and like I said, it's very very intentional. Right. It's like once again, if you know Cheomamanda, she's big on feminism. She's a known feminist, staunch one for that matter, and she tries to propagate her views and tries to change the status quo in that, and she believes that this is one of the tools that she can use to do that. You understand? So that is why you see such themes all through. And her opinion on wars, also you see them there. Post-colonial wars and colonialism and all of that. It is there.
Right.
You understand? And racism, the theme of racism is repetitive. It is there.
Immigration.
She's big on these things, and it is very very intentional. It's not as though she didn't know what, or she doesn't know what she's doing.
How about some love?
She knows what she's doing.
How about some love? The theme of love.
Yeah.
We need to take a break. Think about that.
Love.
Think about it. We'll take a break and come back.
Even the
hey, that's right.
even the theme when it comes to love, there's a little bias.
Really?
Yes.
Love to bias.
There's
I
a
know
little
why
bias. There's a little feminism in the love.
Really?
You know? Yes.
That's a whole conversation. I want us to take a break, guys. I want us to take a quick commercial break. Let's drink water. In fact, let's drink ultimate mineral water. We'll be right back. Say that. What's the problem?
Hello, information.
Madam,
Me, I have still not got the money for that list of expensive building materials you sent to me. The price of the iron rods have been increased too much, added.
madam, relax. Look, that's not why I didn't call you. I just visited IPCP, where the engineers told me everything about Chosako fast floor.
Trawanko, please, those people are expensive. Are they not the people building those big houses in town? I beg going to
Madam, in fact, I used to think the same until I visited their office today, and they gave me an estimate of how much it will cost. Yomo, the estimate is free. It's cheaper than the one I even sent you.
Wow.
Building contractors, foremen, masons. Visit IPCP, the Trasaco Fast Floor. Engineers will assist you build an affordable, faster and stronger building.
And for Oh, madam. It is done.
Wow!
Trasaco Fast Floor. Stronger, faster, and affordable.
This is a Trasaco construction product.
Admissions.
Hello, information.
Madam.
Me, I have still not got the money for that list of expensive building materials you sent to me. The price of the iron rods have been increased too much, added.
Madam, relax. Look, that's not why.
Welcome back from the break. This is still the couch. My name is Ama Pratt. I'm doing this with Bless and Theresa. Okay, so before the break, we were talking about love and how biased love is treated in this book.
Yes,
Care to expatiate.
Exactly. So, even if you look at the most recent,
I knew.
go with it. I don't know. This is the subject matter we are visiting again, but the picture. The picture is painted for.
Tess is actually shaking her head and bending her head like, oh god.
There's a feminist bend, and I understand perfectly. I get it. Myself, I'm a proud feminist, and maybe it would surprise you too. I am one.
Are you surprised? You're
You
surprised?
are.
No, I'm not.
I am. I'm a feminist.
Especially because of what you want to say now.
No.
Is it feminist by words or feminist by deeds?
I'm feminist by deeds, and I don't know. Maybe one day my wife will find out.
Hey,
But
is that how you shoot your shots?
Like, say one day my
Is
wife-
that how you shoot your shot? I'm confused.
Well, so the thing is, you see, if even in love,
Right.
there is this intentional. I don't want to say agenda, but Cheomamanda always brings that part to light, and love is actually like a diamond. The part that you show.
Teach us.
The part that the part of the diamond that you show to the sun is what reflects.
Right.
So and I understand if she decides that she's going to reflect that part of the relationship where she sort of conveyed the emotions of the female character, pitched that against the actions of the male character. His actions that we are made to believe that may have culminated into that. You understand what I mean? You understand what I mean? So it's perfectly okay. As a man, I think I learn from it. It's a learning tool. So I get to learn that if I don't pay attention to my woman or if I do this, my woman could interpret it as this or that. You understand? So in as much as I feel it is intentional and it is an agenda. Let me put it that way. She wants to tell us that you men do this and that's not what you're supposed
Pay
to
attention.
do. Pay attention. Exactly. I sort of understand, and it's okay. We learn from it. So that's fine by me. Though there's a love, there's a bias.
There's a bias in the love. My reaction to that would simply be that feminism is the lived experience of more than half of the people of the world. Right? Feminism is our lived experience. It's our reality. It's our everyday life. And so, feminism has to be part of every conversation.
Exactly.
It's our lived experience, it's our reality. It's what we have to deal with every day in our everyday life. So it would be crazy to have any depiction of real life that doesn't at least try to touch on feminism. It's our experience.
And also, I think that it is the reason she tends to be repetitive with it is because of the fact that for over 2,000 years we've had to deal with the issues.
It's not going away.
Yeah. So you can't just say it in one day and then the problem is solved.
Yeah.
So,
there are so many dimensions to it.
Yes.
You know, so if she's bringing out feminism in the workplace in this story, she'll bring up feminism in the home in that other story. She'll bring up feminism in another dimension, another story. Yeah, because there are so many. And I appreciate what Bless said about the not knowing and learning. All of us, one way or the other, sometimes even unconsciously, do things that sort of perpetuate us without even knowing.
Exactly, yeah.
We don't know. Feminism is not taught to us in primary school or in GSS or in secondary school. Or no. It's going to have to be acquired taste, especially when a lot of the issues burden on feminism have to do with culture. We have been raised a certain way. We have been taught a certain way. We've been brought up feeling a certain way about some issues, you know, about things and things like that. And so, changing attitudes, culture, that's hard.
Yeah, very hard.
And it's new to us. So, until we are exposed enough to it, you know, until somebody is consciously telling us that this is okay, this is not okay, we wouldn't know how to navigate.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if I'm making sense, but yeah.
True.
Yeah. I think she can't talk about it enough.
Yeah. I think I'll just add up to what Bless said. I think her writing is actually intentional. She has a purpose. She doesn't write just for people to get the luxury or feel that ecstasy and all that. She has a standpoint.
For comfort.
Yeah. She has a standpoint in the sense that if you look at the themes that is playing out in her writings, she's bent on changing the status quo. She's bent on changing the social order, which has been in the system for a very long time. On the issue of racism, on the issue of colonialism, and then on the issue of feminism. Women have suffered this for centuries, and this is something that we see in our everyday life. What can she do as a person? What can she do like in her own small corner? She can do that with her writing. There are people who portray that aspect also in their songs, but I think she has picked it up in that perspective because she's a writer. That is what she can do. And when people read, she tries to change their perception of the world, that this world isn't the best that we can have, that a new world can be created. So she has a purpose, and then she drives her agenda or her writing to suit that agenda. So if you are bent on changing something, it's repetitive. You need to consciously and constantly pick at it, because as you said, some of these things we just woke up to it, but it's society that has shaped us to come to that point. And if that same action is not taken by we ourselves to change it, it will still remain the same. And people will think that is the order of the day. Nothing can be done about it. But she tried to stand with the marginalized, okay, and then talk about the issue of the immigrants, the issue of racism, the issue of women. These are things that people don't consciously and constantly write about. But she has taken that upon herself, because even if you check her background, she has that aspect of learning the African literature very well. The issue of the Biafra war that happened in Nigeria. These are things that are, let me say, socially happening, and then it needs to be changed. That order needs to be changed. So she is actually challenging that order that is existing in the society. And until it's changed, I don't think we should, or she should stop writing about them.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. And the other thing is that sometimes, for instance, somebody would say, I am not racist, but might be doing things that are racist without even realizing.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, somebody could come into you, contact with you, Theresa, and want to touch your hair. He doesn't see how offensive it is.
Yeah.
But he's never reflected on how would I feel if somebody suddenly starts touching my hair. You know, they don't realize how intrusive it is because it's not. We are all like that. When it's not you, you don't seem to get it.
Yeah.
But until somebody actually writes about it, so this person goes and reads like, oh, so this thing that I've been doing, it's wrong.
Yeah.
Then there's sort of, it brings it to the front of your, you know, awareness. So you're able to see that no, it's just like this thing about when are you getting married?
Yeah.
When are you having a baby? When is the second one coming? People never realize how offensive it is.
Yes.
They do it innocently. Sometimes they do it even out of a good place.
Yeah.
They care about you.
Yeah.
So it's from a good place. So wouldn't you give birth? But it has to be written down. Somebody has to have the presence of mind. God, I'm sorry. To actually put it down. They read it like, oh, so this thing that I've always been doing is actually offensive from somebody else's point of view. You know, from the perspective of the person who consistently has to answer that question, who probably is going through fertility issues, can't talk about it.
Yeah.
You know, before the person realizes that, oh, so this thing that I've been doing is actually wrong. And then there's change. So yes, you're absolutely right. I had themes repetitive, perhaps.
Yeah.
But it's in order.
Yeah, they should be.
It's totally in order.
Yeah.
Absolutely in order.
Yeah.
Right. Anything we can talk about? Should we deal with specific themes, or we've dealt with themes broadly enough?
I think to some extent we dealt with themes broadly. With a specific, with the books that we've discussed, I think we've looked at themes and.
Okay. Do you think that at the end of the day, I mean, we have all agreed she comes to write it with an agenda.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, do we think that her agenda is achieved?
It's not totally achieved, but there is progress in a way.
Yeah,
There
I
is
agree.
progress.
Yeah.
Because I think Bless even admitted to he learning something.
Having a rethink
Yeah,
Yeah.
myself,
about his
I've
misbehavior.
also, yeah.
Oh. So just like Theresa said, there's as to I feel that if one person, if even if one person has a change of mind on a particular subject matter, and I mean, if she succeeds in changing your opinion about a particular subject matter, I think that she succeeded. And I feel that, like Theresa said too, she's made progress, and it's cool for me.
Yeah. Right. I think that she has, to a large extent, perhaps not with justice, but with all her rights.
Yes.
Today she's one of the most renowned,
sought after, renowned
voices,
writer. Yeah.
You know, in the world.
Yeah.
Not in Africa.
Yeah.
In the world.
Yeah.
You know, to that extent, yes. People pay attention to her. People take what she says seriously. She has a voice.
Yeah.
You know, because of that, people are reading her books.
Yeah.
And so for me, she has. I mean, Beyonce sampled her words in a song. You know, it doesn't get cooler than that.
Yeah.
So I think that to a large extent, yes, she's you know, because even for us as women, sometimes you are going through a situation and you don't realize that it's a thing.
Yeah.
You think it's just you. It's just you. And you're peculiar. You don't realize that it's Charlie. This thing is and it's not acceptable. So for me, absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. The awards she's gotten, the acclaim she has, everything else for me points to the
when she
fact
talks, people listen. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The fact that she's definitely achieving, you know, her agenda. I just hope that she doesn't stop.
Yeah. Writing is not an easy job, by the way. Like, and not just writing, coming up with a very good material. Like, she's been able to do. People write and then don't bring out anything like for the next 20 years. It's not easy, you know, like it's not easy.
And sometimes I feel as though what you have in your mind and what you put on paper can be 2 worlds apart.
Yeah, it can be 2 worlds apart.
So what do you think you've done and how people perceive it might be?
Might be different, yeah.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
It's not
At
easy.
all.
But she's done well.
She's done
Final
really
words.
well.
Final words, guys. And then we are out of here.
Theresa, this time you go first.
Okay. My final words will be just the part that he said she shouldn't stop. She should continue because she has the audience now. And people look up to her. And this is the perfect time to keep on driving the agenda onwards, to change the status quo, to change the social order. And I also recommend that having a share of this book, everyone should also grab it, go through it for themselves to really get the kind of perception or the kind of, let me say, the social order that she wants to subvert and then put in place a new one. It's really helpful for us to do that. It's a book that everyone must get. That is what I would just.
Thank you, Tess.
Yeah, so I don't know if today is the last day. I don't know if it's our last time reviewing the thing around your neck. I don't know if the title itself, that is the thing around your neck, was the last book we've reviewed. I don't know if you are going to review any more in this book, but even if it's the last, I mean, what a run it has been, and it's been exciting. Like we said, there's a book that captures various themes and various topical issues, topical societal issues, issues of feminism, issues of post-colonial wars, immigration. I mean, very, very critical issues in society. And aside the fact that you get to understand whatever is going on, and perhaps you should also have a change. It is going to make you have a change of mind, a positive one, of course, not negative. You are going to have a positive change of mind with regards to some of these topics. You also get to appreciate the sort of talent and the depth of knowledge that this writer has. Her ability to paint pictures with words is superb, and it would be suicidal to name the top writers on the continent and even the world without including Cheomamanda Ngozi Adichie. This book is a must-have, along with all her other books.
Especially, we should all be feminists.
Yes.
Especially, we should
all be feminists. Yep. And it's a must-have. Like you should get to read. Appreciate the genius of this female writer.
Thank you, Bliss.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tess. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure to come your way. Hope you enjoyed this as much as we did. Have a lovely evening. See you tomorrow. Bye.